Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I'm back again with another video in my deep dive planning series. And so in this series, I'm breaking down different aspects of my planning and taking it much slower, and I've just really been enjoying it. I have right here my cute little micro book. I have my FRANKENPLANNER, and actually off to the side right here, I have my phone because these three things work in combination with each other, and I'll show you what that looks like as we get into it. I don't actually plan in more than one thing at the same time. I mentioned I have a couple of things that I'm going to show you, but before I show you those things, I will also mention that I do try to use a separate planner for my work, okay? And so my work stuff, because I have to use a different email system, a different not email, but calendar. I use Outlook for work. A lot of what I have for work, it follows the same model here, but I have to use something different just because it's work notes. So I just take what I do here and just double it for work. Okay, so what I'm discussing here is just for my personal. I will say also that the way that I treat work and personal, it might be time to talk about and have a separate video for that, right? I do put in here my work related stuff, but I don't do my plans for work. All right, again, might be a separate video, right? And I'll just show you that example before we move on. Right here, I wrote work, right? I have a note here. Go to my work planner. All these notes related to these hours of work here, they're in my work planner. Okay, and again, I might do a separate video talking about how I separate work and personal, because that's what we're here for, right? Deep dive into my planning style. All right, so let's go back here because this is kind of where we're gonna live for a little bit for the rest of the video, really. I have multiple, or I should say, I have basically two things that I use regularly to track my future events, like my plans, right? It's going to be something analog, something on paper, as well as my digital calendar, right? I will say that I love using a digital calendar. I use Google Calendar. I actually have, I would say, probably 10 Google Calendars that I have set up. This is my daughter's phone, Sophia's phone. She is 8, and she has access to basically 2 calendars on my Google Calendar. I basically share my Google Calendar with her. And so she's able to see her events as well as family events. And there's like a couple of other calendars that she has access to, but for the most part, it's going to be her calendar. It's a calendar that's called Sophia, and then I have a calendar that says family, and so she has access to both the Sophia calendar as well as the family calendar. There are a couple of others. There's one for any events that she does with her dad. We're a family of 4, so it's just I like to separate what I do with her versus what her dad does with her. So I have a calendar there. I have one that's just her and Rose, the two of them sisters. And I'm thinking those are the big ones. There's really not any other categories or calendars that I share with her. Mostly they're the calendars where she is a participant. So those events I have shared with her, and she, has access to those calendars. She can add events to it, and she does all the time. So again, I think I'm going to do a separate video diving into how I work digitally and plan digitally. There are a couple of other tools that I use in addition to sharing calendars. Yeah, okay. Putting that on the list of things to talk about. Today, I'm going to talk about the analog side of things, right? So what do I do on paper to track my future events? And it's really simple. I only use one planner at a time, right? I do not keep my plans on paper in multiple areas, right? I think that part of the problem is that if you're going to be using multiple planners and keeping plans in multiple planners, you can start losing things. So I like to keep my plans, right? And for me, plans are future events, future things to do, but mostly events, okay? Those future events I put in only one area, okay? Those events are in one spot. So I'm going to go back here because this micro planner, I show this on my channel all the time. I decorate this. It's one of my favorite things to decorate. I do a micro plan with me video every single week where I convert this planner into a cute little decorated page, and I use it as an expense tracker. So it ends its life as an expense tracker, but it actually starts life as my planner, okay? And so it doesn't have to be cute. I track all things in here. So I put everything in here. Like, we go to church every single Sunday. It doesn't matter that I go every single Sunday. I'm going to write it in here. I just want to know that those things are in here. So I have church in here every single Sunday until the very end of the year, okay? I put like any kind of, again, not work events, right? But any kind of personal events, those all end up in here, okay? And I write them all the way through the year. Now, this does last until December 2025. Okay, so this is December 28th, 2025, and then 29th, 30th, and 31st, 2025. What happens with 2026 notes? Again, I use one paper planner, all right? That paper planner is here, okay? So I have converted this, it's basically an old like perpetual calendar or like yearly overview. I have converted this to use for my future events, to make my plans, right? I like doing it on this version of it because this far out, like in 2026, it's just not going to be a ton of plans, you know? So I'm able to jot down, like, for example, we got the school calendar. I was able to put all of those in here already. The one issue is January and February of this perpetual calendar doesn't necessarily, it's the wrong weekends, but I'm just ignoring that, okay? I need to go back in and draw the lines to mark and just kind of white it out, clean it up. But March forward are the correct days of the week, okay? And so I love using this because I'm able to very clearly see at a glance what's happening even a year and a half out from now. So I can plan vacations, I can do all of those things. When the like end of the year, like 2025 kind of rolls around, I'll probably get another book just like this because I've actually been loving this. This is my second year using this. And once I get this book, I will literally take these pages, right? And these pages will be done. I will not use them anymore. All events on here, I would transfer into this planner, all right? So again, I use only that one planner. So I'll just give you this example. This is spring break, right? For Sophia. She's out April 13th through the 17th, 2026. I know that already. I wrote it here, okay? When I buy my 2026 planner, this will go into April 13th through 17th, and I'll write spring break, and this is 2025, so obviously this is not going to be a great example, but I will literally just take a pen, and I'll write in here 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, for the correct days of the week, right? But I would write those in here. Here's a note. I put this in here already. No school for Rose. This must be Easter weekend, so she's not in school that week, right? This week, spring break for Sophia, right? So I do this method pretty much every end of the year, right? So around October, November, when I buy my new 2026 planner, I will transfer it over. Now, in past years, I have used these pages, only these pages, and kept them for just that year. I find that it gets a little bit like I have too many plans, right? So, you know, that is obviously a concern of mine, but I like transferring it from here to here because this, I feel like, is enough space. And so all of my events basically for 2025 are in here on paper. Just like I mentioned, I do also keep them all on Google Calendar. And so that's my digital backup of events, but all my plans on paper are in this cute little book. Now, when the month comes around, right? So let's just go here to the end of February because that's where we are right now. I have these events in here. So you'll see here, I've got a board meeting. I'm going to Orlando. I've got the beginning of a cruise, Saturday and Sunday of March. Okay, that's March, so I'm not going to worry about those two. But let's talk about these two. I have a board meeting in Orlando. Where do these go? Once February rolls around, I basically move them here. Okay, so you can see this one, board meeting. This is, I consider, a leadership event. Okay, so that is this kind of tan color, and you can see it's marked right here. All right, I'll also just, just to show you, because, gotta show you the receipts, right? I am going to go to the 25th. It's written right here, right? Board meeting, right? And so that's that same note. I have it written here, but for planning purposes, this is what I'm going to use to reference, right? So it's right there. That's that dot right there. Okay. It's also on my Google Calendar. So just clarifying that it is there. All right. Another example, Orlando, 28th, right? Right here. I've got the note. I put Port Canaveral. We're still kind of in a toss-up for whether we're going to go to Port Canaveral or Orlando or make a stop in Jacksonville, but I wrote the note here. We're taking the trip. We're traveling on the 28th. Actually, we were talking about moving it up a day, but you know, I can make those edits in here. Once the month has started, I do go ahead and take notes in here. So I'm not going to, let's just say it's February 4th and I'm in here and needing to take a note for 26th, right? I'm not going to put it in this book, right? Now that I've decorated the page, I'm actually, for this month, going to use this planner, right? I'm going to use this monthly spread to track all of my plans. So, all right, I hope that makes sense. That's how I do it. Current month plans go on this page. I normally do that after I decorate, but just from a planning perspective, I put the plans in here when the month starts. Events for March 2025, they are in here, right? Events for April 2025 are in here. All events all the way through December 2025, they're in here, right? The events for 2026, they're also on paper, but they're in a different format, right? And they're here. But I hope that you're hearing that there's no overlap, right? There's no overlap. Once I put a plan in a spot, it stays in that spot until it goes to its new home, okay? So here, 2026, once I get my new 2026 planner, I will no longer use these pages. I will only use this. And once I take the plans from here, like for February, for example, and I move it to its new home here on the monthly spread, I no longer use this book for February. Okay, I still am using it for March, April, and so on. But when I make my March monthly spread and move my plans in here, I will no longer use this book for March, right? So my plans live on paper in only one spot, right? I've written it multiple times, but it only lives in one spot in the sense of like, there's only one spot where I would refer to that information, right? And so I hope this video was, I don't know, a good explanation of how I do things. I do write things multiple times, and I understand that that might be something that's not your style or what you want to do. I find that I am able to remember my plans a lot better because I do that. And I did show you Google Calendar, but I think I need a separate video for that. I have like a whole, like there's a rabbit hole of like how I set up my digital stuff and my digital plans. So I'm gonna do probably two or three videos on digital planning. But I hope this video was inspirational, gave you some ideas, got you to see how I do my future planning. So hopefully that was helpful to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.